It looked like a perfect spot with a great view, and we dared to envisage the side door being open. Well, of course that was the plan, and as we know, all plans sometimes have to change. And that's the view from the bench. It's just amazing how these places in World War I and II are flattened, and yet you look at them today, you wonder how these places get rebuilt. So it was about by the end of June the 6th, there was 23,000 American soldiers had landed here. Probably may know more on the from the character, obviously portraying the character in Band of Brothers. Good morning. A beautiful morning again. It's supposed to be sunny today, but then I think we've got about 4 or 5 days of rain, so we're going to make the most of it. So we just happened to be parked up near a ruins of a small chapelle de Saint-Michel de l'Estre, I think it is. So we're just going to take it's just a 30-minute walk up there. Just saw one of the locals pulled up with a bucket and was going down the hedgerow picking the blackberries. Just a little observation we had as we're walking along is that we've noticed in France that car drivers very rarely acknowledge or thank or whatever, whereas in the UK we tend to put our hand up. Somebody's planted all the wildflowers here. What a beautiful setting. It's the little village we went to yesterday, Le Havre. Apologies for the noise in the background, but the guy who lives next door to the chapel is he's cutting his edge this morning. What a lovely life. And that's the view from the bench. So this is the ruins of the Chapelle Saint-Michel at l'Estre. It was built in the 12th century apparently. So its location overlooking the bay where we were actually camped at was apparently once where pagans first gathered. I think the rumour has it local farmers have always got legends and stories of the area. Looks like that was the position of the altar. It was said that pilgrims come travelling from England either on the way to Spain, down south of Spain, which was obviously a long way away, or across to Mont Saint-Michel over on the west coast of Cherbourg. They would obviously stop here as respite, obviously for religious purposes. So you can see it's got sort of Romanesque and Gothic style, I guess, with the arches. The chapel was abandoned after the French Revolution, and then like a lot of these places the stone gets recycled because they're not think of historical in those days, and they were used to build local homes and roads and that. The chapel became a listed historic monument in 1862, which is quite a long time ago actually, and partial restorations in the 20th century then helped save some of the more mysterious features of it. I'm guessing these little passing gates are meant to stop cattle getting through, I'm guessing. We had a German neighbour join us last night. He's got a pop top. Looks like he's here for a couple of days. He's set up. He's got a lot of storage on the back, got a big storage box and stuff on top as well of the pop top. So we're just heading off to just go to the services, Aire services, to dump the pee bottle. We're going to a place called Montebourg that was actually spoken about in the museum we went to yesterday. It was quite a critical place where there was a big battle after the D-Day landings and the Mulberry Harbour started to fail due to a storm. They really needed a good solid port, and Cherbourg was obviously that. So the Germans were emplaced in Cherbourg. So Montebourg was a line of defence for several days. I think it was up to about the 19th of June they held off to, and it was heavily bombarded. So much so the whole place was flattened. So it's just amazing how these places in World War I and II are flattened, and yet you look at them today, you wonder how these places get rebuilt. It was a monument to the 4th American Division. They liberated Montebourg on the 19th of June. It was 13 days of heavy, intense fighting. This is the main centre of the... Amazing how it gets rebuilt, isn't it? I mean, these houses, I suppose they're made to look as if they were 1940s, I guess. It's a little town, isn't it?
It's a busy city.
Oh.
Busy.
So we've just come onto the coast and just driving down the coast here. We just stopped at Utah Beach just for a bit of lunch, to be honest. So it's such a beautiful sight today, but in 6th June 1944, I think it was mainly American troops who landed on Utah Beach. So it was about by the end of June the 6th, there was 23,000 American soldiers had landed here, and around about 1,700 vehicles. And it was lighter than most, and certainly Omaha Beach, where it was a real problem. See where the concrete's off. I'm guessing in some of those places it would have been from shells and gunfire. I guess there was a gun in here, more like a command and control bunker. They look very stylish. We're just here at the Dick Winters Memorial, just from a Utah Beach. He was, you probably may know more on the from the character, obviously portraying the character of Dick Winters in Band of Brothers. This was a decisive battle where he led young soldiers against, I think, an artillery battery, which was quite decisive in securing the Utah Beach. My plan was simple in that I found a remote park-up overlooking the estuary a few miles north of Isigny-sur-mer. Hopefully we would stop 2 nights and simply relax in the Normandy coastline. Well, of course that was the plan, and as we know, all plans sometimes have to change. It looked like a perfect spot with a great view, and we dared to envisage the side door being open.
Yeah.
Well, I might stay 2 nights if we feel like it's relaxed, which it should be. Yeah?
Yeah. Just keep the... Oh God, okay. Just put your window up.
God.
Okay.
I said, oh my God. One by one they came. Well, this was going to be our park up, but as much as a nice view it is, we're going to be inundated with flies. So we waved the white flag and simply retreated. The Aire back in Isigny-sur-mer was my next target.
In 150 metres, turn left.
I take it that's a plate.
Yeah, this is Marina down here. No, not for me.
Turn left now.
Not for me.
You'll be alright for the night.
No. Classic Stu behaviour where I start talking myself out of a park up. My anxiety still surfaces from time to time despite many counselling sessions over the years. I don't know where it comes from, but the best advice I was given was to simply accept it, as that conscious act will often bring down your feeling immediately. It did, and a good night was had right by the river Aire. So we're back in Isigny-sur-mer. So we parked up in Isigny-sur-mer. The first park up didn't work out. Lovely setting, I have to say. It would have been ideal, but as soon as we arrived we were inundated with flies on the windscreen, and it got heavier and heavier as we parked up, so there was no way we could park there. So originally we were going to park up for a couple of days, so we come back to Isigny-sur-mer, which was about 20 minutes away from the first park up. We're just at an Aire. It's quite a busy Aire. It seems like there was an old Aire, there's a new Aire, and then we haven't been able to get in, so we just parked up in where you're allowed to park by the river's edge, but we've got to be away for 10 o'clock, which is not a problem because we're just cooking some tea at the moment, and then we'll get ourselves ready for bed, because I think we're both tired, to be honest. Just by the Aire at the back here, there seems to be some sort of parkland activity area. There's toilets here as well, by the looks of it. Over there's a proper camping park, so if you want to actually park in the town, that's probably your best place, I would say. Solo volleyball? Don't think it'll catch on. Skateboarding or street bike, I guess. Didn't bring it. French bull, no one here. Circuit, not quite sure it's going to be good for me back. Too old. Well, I'll leave it there for this episode, so if you enjoyed it, hit that like and consider subscribing, and I will catch you in the next episode.